Hello, everybody. First off, Happy New Year. Hope everyone had great holidays, if you do celebrate. And hope everyone is having a good New Year. And welcome to another Game News Roundup. It's going to be fairly short today. We've got the latest VGChartz estimates for the week ending December 10th. And one bit of gaming news to go over, and that's really about it. So we've got our estimates for December 10th. I know we're a little bit behind, waiting for extra data to come in before we post the stuff, yada, yada, yada. But for the week ending December 10th, we've got the Switch in first place with 872,000 estimated sales. PS5 in second, 715,000 estimated sales. Series X and S, 480,000 estimated sales worldwide. The PS5, I believe, it was also the only console to see sales up week over week. Switch and Series X and S sales did dip a bit. Series X and S, for that particular week, that $50 Series S discount was discontinued for that week, and then they brought it back on December 12th, so then sales would pick back up again for the following week. Lifetime sales, we got just a hair under 19 million for the Switch, a hair under 29 million for the PS5, and 20.61 million for the Series X and S. Breaking down the worldwide in North America, we've got the PS5 in first, 390,000, 309,000 for the Switch, 297,000 for the Series X and S. In Europe, the Switch, 246,000, 176,000 for the PS5, and 111,000 for the Series X and S. Japan, as always, the Switch continues to dominate. 158,000 for the Switch, almost 19,000 for the PS5, and 1,500 for the Series X and S. And we're winding down the Xbox One. We've got 3 more weeks for the rest of this year, and after that, Xbox One, we will stop tracking those figures, however low they've already gotten, and we will likely be continuing PS4 tracking through next year. No, sales will be winding down throughout the year. Also this week, I will have an article up tomorrow, but the Nintendo Switch has, according to our estimates, has outsold the Game Boy. It also includes the Game Boy Color, if you're wondering. These are just figures from Nintendo. 118.69 million for the Game Boy versus 118.99 million for the Nintendo Switch, which means the Nintendo Switch is the third best-selling video game platform of all time. Though it's going to be a while before it moves up in ranks. We've got a long wait before it passes the DS in second place, and we got the PS2 in first place. Breaking down, we got the Switch, almost 43 million in North America, here over 30 million in Europe. 27.4 million in Japan, and 18.45 million in the rest of the world. Versus, look at the Game Boy, here over 43 million in North America, here over 40 million in Europe, 32.5 million in Japan, but just 3 million in the rest of the world. So that other markets outside of North America, Europe, and Japan has grown, become a bigger percent of the overall gaming market. Hey, Dave, how are you doing? Welcome. To quickly go into the latest VGChartz estimates. VGChartz. I can talk. I swear I'm good at this. It's been the holidays, okay? I've been taking it easy, all right? Even though I feel like it wasn't nearly long enough of a break, but isn't that how it always is? Moving down again, we got the PS5 is currently in 18th place. It should be passing the Atari 2600 before the end of the year, probably Christmas Eve week. And then early next year, passing the N64. Xbox Series X and S will, in the next update, be passing the Master System. Not long after that, we got the GameCube. Then the original Xbox, 24.65 million. And they will be moving up the charts. And at this point, the Switch, it's going to be until 2025 before we see it potentially moving up. Late 2025, most like, 2020. Late 2024? Yeah, maybe late 2024, early 2025. Sorry. I'm having all the years mixing up. We're at the new year, and yeah. Breaking down our weekly article, the comparison, generation over generation. So we got the PS5 Series X and S versus the equivalent week for the PS4 and Xbox One, which will be the week ending December 12th. 2015 for them versus this week ending December 10th for the PS5 and Series X and S. The PS5 sales are actually down compared to the PS4, about 140,000 units, but of course it's all about available stock at this point. Even though stock has definitely improved greatly for the PS5, stock can still be a little tricky Even though it is a lot easier to find one than it was, but compared to how systems have been in the past, it's still hard to find. And Series X and S, compared to the same week for the Xbox One, are down by a little over 23,000 units, with 855,000 estimated sales for the PS4, and a hair over 500,000 for the Xbox One. But moving on, I would expect weekending December 17th, weekending December 24th, sales for all the big three to keep going up each week, and then obviously the last week of the year sales will go down because we're back past Christmas Eve and Christmas. But yeah, year over year sales, PS5 is doubled, up 104%. Series X and S is up 37.5%, and the Switch is down 17% year over year, which, considering how old the Switch is to be expected for sales to be down year over year. Week sales, PS5 are up by over 16,000. Series X and S are down by over 110,000. Mainly because the Series S $50 discount ended for that week or so. And then they just start again on December 12th. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if the Series X and S gets the biggest uptick in sales numbers-wise, but probably would still be behind the other two. And Switch sales are down by nearly 60,000 units week on week. 2022 year-to-date sales, we've got the Switch at 17.36 million estimated sales so far through December 10th. PS5 just a hair under 12 million. And then Series X and S, 9.5 million. And trying to think where sales would be. We're probably talking close to around 13 million or so for the PS5 for the year. By the time we get to the end there. Maybe, I was thinking 20 million, 3 weeks left. Probably not 20 million. It'll be close. Maybe around 20 million for the Switch, or just a hair under 20 million for the Switch. And then 10.5 to 11 million for... Maybe around 11 million for the Series X and S. Again, these are estimates based on the data we have available, and adjustments do occur as more data becomes available, as I always like to mention. They are estimates based on what we can get data available on, and then every once in a while we get more data, and then we tweak the estimates to be more accurate. And the one bit of gaming news, which actually was from last week, Chile has approved Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition to become the fourth, at least confirmed, country to approve it. Other ones being Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and Serbia. Now, the big ones, the ones that are probably the most important places, we're waiting on the US with the FTC, the UK with the CMA, the European Union with the European Commission are probably the big three. I mean, China's also important, but I feel like probably will have no problem passing China or Japan just for the fact that Activision games aren't nearly as popular there, and Xbox is well behind in the Asian markets. But again, yeah, very quick game news roundup. I guess I could quickly go over Chile's regulatory authority. I don't speak Spanish, but yeah, the Fiscalía Nación Económica. Yeah, it's released its ruling and it approved the deal in its first phase. Didn't make it to phase 2. The regulatory authority of Chile stated the deal was not suitable to substantially reduce competition, considering, among other evidence, patterns and preferences of video games consumers in Chile. In its analysis of horizontal effects, the investigation ruled out risks, considering that in the markets where the parties overlap their activities, that the limits were not exceeded. Market concentration thresholds established in the 2022 Horizontal Concentration Operations Analysis Guide, and that a large number of relevant competitors in dynamic market were observed. Chile's regulatory authority considered what would happen if Microsoft stopped releasing Call of Duty on competitor platforms, mainly PlayStation, and concluded Activision Blizzard faces competitive pressures from players such as EA, Take-Two, Ubisoft, and Epic Games, Sony, and Nintendo, and that relevance of Call of Duty would be comparatively less in Latin America than in other regions of the world. It was also considered that the number of consumers who would prefer to change the console in the face of a blocking strategy would also be lower, which was verified through a survey carried out with Chilean consumers, and that the significant income generated by PlayStation in favor of Activision Blizzard would discourage adoption of a blocking strategy. The regulatory authority concluded that it ruled out the risk of tipping it in the market of next-generation consoles and in subscription services such as Game Pass, since Activision Blizzard's video games, although important, are not the most relevant for game consumers in Latin America, and that the players in this market offer highly differentiated services. Tipping occurs when once a certain scale of operations is exceeded, the markets tend to concentrate and eventually closed under a single or dominant actor. In relation to a possible risk of blocking consumers, the prosecutor's office concluded that Microsoft will not stop demanding video game published by third parties since the computer video game distribution market has shown significant dynamism with the entry of new relevant players, highlighting the leading position held by Steam. On the other hand, in the video game distribution market for consoles, there is significant competitive pressure from Sony and Nintendo, which would discipline the resulting entity and would operate as a relevant substitute client for competing publishers, including various players, and some of them are particularly relevant. Activision, Blizzard, EVP Corporate Affairs, and CCO Lulu Chang via Twitter stated that Chile's competitive authority, FNA, has now approved our acquisition by Microsoft, joining regulators elsewhere that have also recognized the deal's benefits for competitors and players. As other responsible regulators review the facts, we expect more approvals like this one. So again, Chile's become just the fourth place to so far approve the deal. Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and Serbia are the other three, at least that have been confirmed. Maybe some others have approved it, but nothing has been confirmed yet. There is a rumor that Japan might have approved the deal already, but we haven't seen anything official on that yet. So, yeah, that is going to be about it for the Game News Roundup. As always, if you enjoy this, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment if you have anything to add. If there's any gaming news I missed, check up on VGChartz.com for any of the latest gaming news. And the article on the Switch outside on the Game Boy will be live tomorrow. So, anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Hope everyone had a great holiday and a Happy New Year. Otherwise, yeah. Here's to 2023 being a great year, better year for everybody. See you all next time.